What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I could say I'm humbled and I'm very much so appreciative. Thank you. I know I couldn't do it without you. I really appreciate all the support. So I was asked by a couple of real righteous people, man, to do this spill. So I'm going to do it, man. I was trying to step out the business, man, because it really didn't involve me. And me having not known both of these individuals personally, I don't know the get down. I don't know the relationship between these two at the end of the day. I've put a couple videos out there just like everyone else has, every content creator. And I'm not trying to milk the situation. I believe the situation is what it is now. And at this point, we should just leave it where it's at and respect the fallen, man. Respect the dead, right? Definitely. But at the same time, I've gotten reached out to by a couple of the family members, man, that have expressed a different take on exactly what's put out there when it comes to Big Boy and, what he put into the pot for Wicked. Now, first and foremost, let me express this to you. Not only were they colleagues, they were friends, they were camaradas, they were homies, right? And not just homeboys that met over a cold bowl of soup that didn't taste too good, but actually friends that knew each other since Big Boy was 19 years old incarcerated, right? According to what everyone has said, Wicked was actually his first cellie or one of his first cellies that laced him up in the game, that looked out for him, gave him the clecha. And it's not every day that you get big homies or homies that are willing to do that. A lot of these guys that are doing their time just want to do their time and they don't want to be burdened, with having to educate a youngster that really doesn't know the get down with the yard. But Wicked went out of his way. This is the type of person he seemed to be. A person that wanted to educate the youth, all about positivity, wanted to change and correct his ways, things he's done in the past, make good of it. And there's a lot of homies like that. I myself am in that same realm where, I see young homies doing bad and it's like, man, I want to uplift them, whether it be in spirit, help them out, give them game, or even if they're going the bad route, tell them how to go left rather than going right, because I don't want them to get left behind by making the wrong choices rather than the right choices. It's just what it is. And I could see that in Wicked. I could see, man, some of his posts that he did before he passed away, that he was trying to shed a good light and positivity, man. That's real righteous, man. That's a solid individual who, of course, passed away solid within his hood, solid in life. And I can't do nothing but respect it, But when he passed, a lot of people were going in on Big Boy. And I did a video about it. They were prejudging Big Boy and blaming him, basically. I mean, there was a lot of outlandish things that people were saying concerning the death of Wicked before they even knew what actually happened. Now, to this day, we don't know precisely exactly what happened. And the reason we don't is because the family hasn't put out there, and we got to respect their wishes of keeping that to the chest, keeping that within the familia. But what has been put out there is the fact that Big Boy has not participated monetarily like people think he has or like people think he should. Now, I myself, I have a difference of opinion when it comes to a lot of people. When you're colleagues, when you work for someone, it doesn't necessarily mean when you pass, they have to pay for your whole burial or your funeral. Usually the family takes care of that. Usually you put in the proper precautionary things, Nowadays, a lot of people have life insurance. A lot of people take care of themselves. They buy their plots. I know I got my plot ready to go, man. They take care of themselves so that way they don't burden their family. But shit happens when it happens, man. Only God knows. And when you're taken off this world, you're taken out. It just is what it is. Now, unfortunately, in Wicked's story, it was a murder case. It's an ongoing murder investigation in the case. And what's the motive behind it, I don't think is the true story. I think the true story here is, this man was not prepared to go yet. Had a lot left to give the community, had a lot left to give the world. And I'm sure had a lot left to give himself and his familia, man. And it hurts, man. It hurts when you lose someone, because you're never fully prepared for death, man. We know it's coming. Everyone knows they got that coming. It's facts. It's mandatory. But you're never fully prepared for it, man, unless you are. Right? And I think the only people that can be prepared for that is someone, say, on death row that knows they have an exact date and an approximate time. Other than that, no one else really truly knows the date nor the time. It can happen today. I could walk out and a feather could fall on my head and crack my whole shit, right? So you just never know. But it's not a laughing matter, and it's nothing to be played with. Death is truly real, and it happens, and it's unfortunate. But it's something we need to deal with in life, right? Now, Big Boy, I don't think, had any dislike or distrust for Wicked. I believe he truly was his friend. But people can't expect him to be monetarily responsible for Wicked's get down. Now, as a good homie, as someone who worked side by side, and actually Wicked being one of the faces of the Strength Cartel, man, and bringing them a lot of revenue. You know, because it's all not all about just one person. You know, Big Boy's riding around in G-Wagons, nice cars, flossing, having money. You know, people expected, the expectations was that he would do a little bit more for his camarada, for his good homie. And according to what's been put out there, he didn't do much more than $500, right? Now, there was a lot of people saying that he started the GoFundMe, which we dispelled that and debunked that rumor. Because the family got at me personally and told me that that wasn't the case, that they actually started the GoFundMe and that he was just actually the first person to kick it off, you know, to put the first 500 down to get it popping. Now, I say that to say this. I actually was gotten at by a different family member of Wicked's that told me that, in fact, he didn't put no money in the pot, that he has not necessarily reached out to the family, didn't pull up to the services, didn't do a lot of things that people would expect him to do. Now, I don't know if there was a falling out or they were at odds at the particular time of Wicked's death, but you would think that Big Boy, first and foremost, and all of the Strength Cartel would be the first ones at the funeral. I know when my uncle passed away, man, a while back, a couple years ago, the whole family was tripping because he was part of a group in Modesto, California called the 49er Mob, right? And they're basically a whole bunch of homies that got together and started this 49er group. You know, they're all big fans. My Theo was a big fan. He got buried in full 49er gear. My cousin Ricky, I talked about it, tried to take the jacket up off him. I had to fucking snatch him up in the headlock and choke him out with his Mongolian again, all up at the wake, right? But true stories here. You know, these guys pulled up deep. And I remember the whole family tripping because not a lot of my older family members knew who these guys were. They all looked like gang members. They came 49ered out. And I remember them all walking in to pay their respects and put a 49er flag in my Theo's coffin at the wake. And that was appreciative. And I jumped up, me and my couple of my primos shook hands. And they came with respect. They came with pride. They came with a lot of love for a fallen soldado within their cause, you know, which was, of course, just you know, a 49er fan thing, but it was just the love that they showed my Theo, who had just gotten into that club, man, not only just a couple years before that. So, man, the respect was real. I'll never forget that and how they pulled up, you know, deep to do that. So you would think that the Strength Cartel, because they were so close with Wicked and because Wicked was such a big part, an intricate part of, you know, not only the revenue there, but the face of, you know, the company, that he would be acknowledged like that. You know, but from what I heard from a family member, that wasn't the case. They did not show up. They did not show their love. I'm sure they called individually to express their condolences. And that could be a number of different reasons. Maybe they don't want to be caught up in the investigation. Maybe they're in shock. You know, it's hard. People deal with death in different ways. So it's hard to really say what the get down was. Or maybe he was at odds. You know, I don't want to spread rumors, but you just never know, right? Now, what I have heard from the familia, facts, is that a few of them, man, the ones that expressed their, you know, talk to me, said that they're not happy with Big Boy shenanigans. They're not happy with how he continues to put Wicked on his channel and talk about his death and do these types of things and profit off his name without kicking back in. And you would think, man, if that you're doing something like that, if you're his homie, okay, now I'm doing my content. Of course, I'm utilizing Big Boy's face, Wicked's face on the thumbnail, but I'm doing it from a place of respect, from a place of condolence to the family, and from a place that, you know, these things need to be spoken upon. Because people get the misconception that just because you do business with someone or you're a homie with someone, that it's always like that. That they're the first ones that are going to show you love. But actually, in fact, in life, your own homies are going to be the ones that do you in. You know, it's all good when you're right there and they're profiting off your name or they're making money. But then when you're gone, people shun you or turn their back on you. Forgive and forget, or just forget to forgive, right? They just forget about you. In this case, the family is not too happy. Some of the members, not saying all, man. They all have different relationships, I'm sure, with Big Boy. But a lot of them are very concerned and alarmed with the fact that he's utilizing Wicked's name continually, talking about his death on his channel and profiting from it and not kicking in. You know, it's not his financial responsibility to kick in. Let's get that out of the way. You know, there's nothing mandatory that says that he had to drop this big, large amount of money, even if he's worth $5 million, which according to what everything I've seen, Big Boy's worth about $5 million. That's his $5 million. We can't pocket watch that man. We can't tell that man what to do or when to do it with his money. That's his feria. He's earned it. He created that company. He chose to, you know, bring in who he wanted to put money in their pockets. Ultimately, man, it's up to the family members and it's up to the person that passed away to prepare for things like this. But again, it's a slap in the face when you're continually acting like, man, that was your close best friend or that was your close homeboy, and profiting and gaining off his name. And at the end of the day, man, showing no love, you know, when the family, you know, not necessarily needs the help, but, you know, it would be the righteous thing to do. I would think so, you know. That's like tomorrow, man. Truth be told, man, if something was to happen to a close homeboy of mine, I would do what I had to do. Case in point, my Theo, the same Theo that passed, you know, when he passed, he was ill prepared. He was very sick. We knew it was coming. So the family kind of was there was talks. You know, there was plenty of times they were going to pull the plug on him. We stopped that. We prevented that. His girlfriend wanted to pull the plug. We shut that shit down. Bitch, you ain't doing nothing of the sorts, right? And eventually he succumbed to his disease, man. He succumbed, he died of cirrhosis, and that was that, right? Drinking a little too much. And like I said, we seen it coming. So all the family got together and we all kicked in a thou wow to make his funeral happen. And funerals are not cheap. Okay, 10,000 ain't gonna get you nowhere. We're talking 30,000 and up for a decent funeral, unless you're just trying to cremate them and all that. Then a little 10 thou wow will do that. But for the most part, if you're trying to do the whole, you know, the after parties and the celebrations of lives and all that, it's going to be about 30,000. It's going to hit your pockets, man. There's big money in death, right? And everything from the casket to the venue to the, you know, the time slot, the church, depending upon if they were, you know, affiliated with the church. My family was affiliated with and continues to be affiliated with the Catholic Church. So it costs a little bit, right? A lot of it. And so we all kicked in the thou wow, some a little bit more than others. But we made it happen. We didn't ask anyone for help. We didn't do a GoFundMe. We didn't do any of that, just because that's not the way my family rocks. It was more so a thing that, you know what? In fact, there was a GoFundMe started. Don't let me lie to you, right? My cousin started one. I wonder where all that money went. But anyways, we buried him. And 2 years later, I went to visit my uncle just recently, and I went to his plot, and there was just a little brass marker that was overgrown with weeds, and I couldn't even see it. And I went to go smoke a frajo with them and give him a beer and do all the things that he wasn't supposed to do with them, because that's the way he would have wanted it, right? And I was pissed. I was pissed that he didn't have a gravestone. I was pissed that he sat there for 2 years unmarked, that there was no love. All these friends, all this family, everyone that he had, no one showed any love. So I immediately broke out the wallet and broke bread for a gravestone, man. Because not only did I love my uncle and will continue to forever, it's the right thing to do. Where were all the homeboys and all the people that had his back in life? Where were they? Where were they when he was over drinking? And where were they when you know, at the end of the day, everyone just kind of forgot about him? I didn't. I never will, right? So I went and did that for him, and I would hope someone would do that for me. But I prepare for myself. I'm gonna have my gravestone chiseled out, saying, "Hey, fuck that. Here I am," right? And that's what it is. Now, Wicked's family did start a GoFundMe. And like I said, ain't nothing wrong with that. And there was a lot of people that kicked in, a lot of people that paid their respects by doing that. A lot of people do that. You know, when you start a GoFundMe, for whatever cause it is, there's people out there that just want to contribute to good causes and help because they feel not obligated to, but they want to. That's a great thing in life, man. Support your community, support people that truly need it. Now, Big Boy, being a multimillionaire and having such close affiliation with Wicked, you would think that he would be like, hey, 500 ain't shit. Let me go ahead and give you something behind the scenes. Now, I thought for sure maybe that took place. I thought maybe he did help out behind the scenes, and he's not putting his business out there, and it's not nobody's business for his business to be put out there in the first place. But a couple of those family members got at me. They said that he didn't even show up, pay his respects, condolences, nothing. Just kind of dropped his videos on his channel and made some money and did it pushing. And that kind of flabbergasted me, because someone that you're so close with, or you're alleged to have been close with, we're talking about a 19-year-old kid in prison that gets laced up, gets his boots laced up. Obviously, he never forgot about Wicked, because he put Wicked on when it came to the weightlifting realm of things, right? So obviously there was still that love there. Every picture that I've ever seen of them, they look tight, they look close. There was no beef there. But sometimes people come from different walks of life. People come from different things. Now I know Big Boy gets a lot of hate because he's not considered Chicano, or people consider him, he's white. And like I said, he could be mixed. Chicano is not only what you are, but it's a lifestyle, right? It's what you think and what you feel. Orale Miklo Velka, right? And I know he's from Orange County and all that, man, and representing the southern side, not the other side, and respects for that. But, there's different ways people grow up. I know Wicked is from Compton, and Compton is rough. My primos are from Compton, and growing up there, man, it's a whole different flavor, a whole different lifestyle. So these guys come from two different walks of life, but met up in prison. And like I said, everything that I've ever heard was Wicked was solid in his willings and dealings with Big Boy, and to the very end. So the family is not happy. And I'm not saying all family members, I'm not speaking in their behalf or saying that they're all not happy, because like I said, I'm sure he did reach out to somebody, I would hope. But to the family members that I talked to, Wicked's familia, righteous family, said that he never showed no respect or never came through. And there was even one family member that said he didn't put the $500 down. Now I know that's made public, so I didn't take a look at it to see if he did or didn't. It's none of my business, what that man does with his money. But I mean, come on now, if you continue to profit off the videos, if you continue to tell people and express a wicked past, and your videos are doing numbers, you would think you could take some of that money and at least kick down. I'm sure he had family. His family is always going to continue to need. He's no longer there to provide. And that's a big loss. It was a big loss to my family when my uncle passed, because he had children that not only didn't have a father anymore, but they didn't have that monetary help. He had a daughter and a son that were still young. And a lot of my family contribute and kick in to help the best way that they can. But it's never enough. There's never enough love and never enough realness like a parent's love and realness, right? So anyways, that's coming from Wicked's familia, from, the conversations I've had or the comments they've left me. There's a lot of people that, are like, hey, don't speak on Big Boy. He's solid. He's real. And again, I did a video saying that people that they shouldn't be quick to blame this guy for anything, because it's not necessarily his responsibility. But come on now, man, you have to have a moral obligation and some respect for your homeboys. But this is the life we live. This is the world we live in. Don't take it for a grain of salt. Even though some people say it is, you're going to have homies. The ones that are closest to you are going to be the ones that do you the dirtiest. Some of the people that I would have laid my life down for were trying to take my life. Some of the people that I thought, couldn't do me dirty were the same ones telling on me, doing me dirty behind the scenes. And it was always the guys closest to you. That's part of life. We know that. I think a lot of people know that now. It's been put out there. But it's just ugly when you're sitting on $5 million, you're a multimillionaire, you're riding around in luxury, your homeboy, your good homeboy, your taita, and not only that, your colleague, man, someone you worked with, someone that did everything he could do to be beneficial to the company and brought money to the company. Because regardless if you think you're the face or not, and it's your company, man, your colleagues and those around you definitely bring something good to the table, or they wouldn't be around in the first place. See, it's not all about giving someone a job and telling them, okay, here's your money, you work for me, that's all you got coming. Most good bosses are recognized as good bosses because they go above and beyond for their gente, because their people are their backbone. If you take care of your workers will forever take care of you. Even in death, man. And this is street shit. This is coming from street shit. These guys are very street influenced. A lot of them been incarcerated within the Strength Cartel, so they know what it is, man. And you would just think, even if he didn't want to put no more money on his books necessarily, per se, right? Or give his family any more money for whatever reason, that's fine. But at least show up and pay your respects. What was that all about? You know, that right there leads me to believe there was something more going on, tricky behind the scenes, or something happened that big boy didn't condone, is not speaking on. Okay, you can't sit here and say in memory of, the fallen this and that on your channel and show support and all that when you yourself are just two-faced about it. You're not showing the proper support. It's just a trip, man. This is a cut and dry case, man. A man was murdered, a very well-known and solid man on social media. He was murdered, and his family has to deal with that, and he's, people are dealing with that. But at the end of the day, man, just some of the ways Big Boy's playing this out just doesn't seem right, man. And again, is the family upset? I know a couple members are that got at me, and they're feeling some type of way. And like I said, one member said that they just wanted to let me know that they're the ones that started the GoFundMe. Big Boy didn't start it, and he shouldn't be getting all the hate for starting a GoFundMe, because that's what it is nowadays. People were like, damn, he started that GoFundMe immediately, and he could have did it for one of two reasons. One, because he felt like that was the righteous thing to do, or two, to capitalize off of it. See, a lot of people, that's the tricky part in this GoFundMe shit, man, which is the reason why it's hard for a lot of people. I know when Dubs did it for his dog, it was hard. He called me. It was hard for him to do it because people don't like to ask anyone for help, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that misconstrue that as people trying to work someone or play them. And that's not always the case, man. That usually it's for a righteous cause and a real cause, man. And that's why I give what I got whenever I can. Anyways, with that being said, man, just wanted to tell you guys that's what it is. Coming from the family members of Wicked's, a couple of his family members. Again, I don't speak for all of them or even them, but this is what they told me, man, that he didn't even show up to pay his respects. What was that all about? No one from the Strength Cartel did, according to them. Is there something else going on behind the scenes we didn't know about? One never knows, does one? With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle, the struggle to strive, man. I'm going to continue to stay on this beat because I believe there's more than meets the eye here, man. Again, I will never express or put out his business, Wicked's business, as far as why he was murdered or what, is surrounding that. There's a lot of people with a lot of crazy stories. Again, that's his family's business. If they want to put it out, they will. If not, respects to them for sticking true to that man's legacy, Never tarnish a man's legacy, period, no matter what it is, for financial or gain in any sorts. With that being said, this is the gun. Bang, bang.